What's up guys, Stark here. In today's character spotlight we are taking a look at our first 1 or 2 star character, and in this one we're going to take a look at Arash. So he is really damn good. His picture on the screen right now, I think his artwork is fine, but I really want to talk about the character. I don't want to focus on his artwork. So basically you need to forget everything you know about gacha games in general, because most games, the lower the stars, the worse the characters. And I mean, this holds true in Fate as well, because they have lower stats, but you can't judge a character based on their stars, because some of these 1 and 2 star characters I'll be talking about in the next couple of days are insane. Like, they're better than some 3 stars, some 4 stars, maybe even some 5 stars. Like, you can't knock these characters just because they only go up to level 60 or just because they have 1 or 2 stars. You have to forget what you know. It's like in Treasure Cruise having like a freaking bronze poster being an endgame character. Like, it just doesn't make sense. But in this game, this is how it works, and it's awesome. And basically, it helps those people who don't want to spend money, because some of these characters, like, they're really good, and you can use them to do insane amounts of damage. So enough rambling about that. I will talk about why he's good. I don't even really know like the extent of how good this character is. I just know a little bit about what he's used for and things like that. Anyway, though, he is an archer, so he will be strong against sabers, weak to lancers, and he, like I said, he is a 1 star, so he goes up to level 60. And his max attack here at level 60 is going to be 5,816, and his HP will be 7,122. So that's pretty moderate stats. You can grow this character up to 100, and honestly 1 and 2 star characters might be the characters you'd rather grail, just because you can make a 1 star character have stats like a 5 star character, and you get more growth out of that than say a 5 star character grailing up to 100. So yeah, it's definitely up to you. Arash is definitely really good, especially if you grail him and get his like maximum attacks of like 11,037. So it's really nice, definitely worth considering grailing this character out. So let's go ahead and talk about his skills here. His first skill is Toughness EX, which increases his defense for 3 turns and increases his poison resistance for 3 turns as well. So it's 10% gain at level 1, 20% at level 10 for the defense anyway. It's a pretty solid defense buff. Essentially, this character, I don't want to like talk too much about his Phantasm now, but essentially you just need to survive long enough until you can use your Phantasm with this character, and then you're set, basically. So his second skill is Clairvoyance A, which greatly increases critical star drop rates for 3 turns. It's only for himself though. 20% at level 1, 40% at level 10, and that will unlock after the first ascension. And then his final skill is called Bow and Arrows Creation A, which increases Phantasm gain, or gauge rather, and restores his HP. But this is a strengthening power-up quest unlockable skill, so you will have to wait for that in order to get the skill. But once you do, it will increase his gauge by 20% at level 1, 30% at level 10, will heal him 1,000 HP at level 1, and 3,000 at level 10, which is really nice. It's amazing for his Phantasm, which we will talk about in just a little bit, and it plays perfectly into it. So it's a really nice skill, and you guys will see how good it is once I talk about his Phantasm. But for now though, we're going to talk about his class skills. So his first skill is called Independent Action C, which increases critical strength by 6%, and his second skill is Magic Resistance C, which increases debuff resistance by 15%. So moving on here to his Ascension materials and his skill enhancement materials, he does need a moderate amount. He is a 1 star, so there's nothing going to be too crazy for these characters, but he does need some seeds and he does need some crystals. Overall though, he is very easy to ascend. Most of them are, and it's really nice because he's really good. I keep saying that. You guys will see why in just a little bit. I wish I had like the proper way to use him in the video so I could showcase just how much damage this guy does, but you guys will see something of that sort. It won't do as much damage because I don't have a max, but you'll see. Anyway, his skill enhancement materials are on the board right now, they're on the screen right now. He does need some seeds and some homunculus babies. Again, this will be pretty easily able to be maxed with all this stuff here. You just need the homunculus babies, the seeds you can farm. I know they're tedious to farm, but it's just a couple things. You don't need too many different types of materials. So moving on here to his craft essence, this will unlock the Sacred Devotion craft essence, and while equipped to Arash, obviously, it will remove debuffs and restore HP of all allies by 5,000 when he is defeated. So this is really good. When he dies, it will trigger the craft essence, which will do additional effects after he dies, and this is really good, again, because of his noble Phantasm, which we are going to talk about in just a little bit, very shortly. But first up, we are talking about his command cards. So he does have 1 quick, 2 arts, and 2 buster command cards. So you can definitely use him in an arts team, but he is primarily suited for buster teams. And that is because his noble Phantasm is a buster noble Phantasm. And this is why this character is so good. It will deal significant damage to all enemies. And then on the overcharge, it will increase damage, but the drawback is he will kill himself. But normally the drawback is not that big of a deal because he's going to kill the enemy team. So you can see here on the board, I keep saying the board, on the screen, he does 1000% damage at level 5 Noble Phantasm, and then a 400% increased damage to all enemies. So that's insane amount of damage. And then on his interlude quest, it'll deal even more damage, so 12,000 and then 800% extra damage for his Noble Phantasm. So if you max this character out with Grails, and you max his Noble Phantasm, which should be super easy because he's a 1-star, and then you do his interlude quest to maximize like all the damage you can do for this guy, and then combo it with a buster card setup or like other cards that increase Noble Phantasm damage, you're just going to nuke any wave you use this Noble Phantasm on. And he's a 1-star. He's gonna do so much damage. It's ridiculous. Like I said, I wish I had him maxed and ready to go so I could show you guys how good he is. Unfortunately, I don't. But just look at the stats and like the amount of damage this guy could potentially deal is very, very good. So moving on here to some command cards you can use for him. Kaleidoscope is solid for this character, just to make sure you get your Noble Phantasm off. But honestly, there are some better craft essences you can use. If you're not worried about getting his Noble Phantasm up, you want to focus more on actually doing damage. And that's the big part of this character. Like, you know he's going to die, so you just need to let him last long enough to use his Noble Phantasm and deal as much damage as possible. So you could do the Verdant Sound of Destruction for the 15% increase for buster cards, or you could use Limit 0 Over for the 25% increase in buster cards. Or what you could do is use craft essences that will increase your Noble Phantasm damage. So you could use Angel Song for the 25% increase in Noble Phantasm damage, or you could use Heaven's Feel, which will do 40% increased Noble Phantasm damage. So your like I said, your main goal is just to do as much damage as you possibly can with this character, and it's gonna, like I said, you're probably gonna nuke the entire wave with the right setup. So he's definitely a really good character, especially for a 1-star. Like, he's insane. Anyway, guys, once again, I'm not really sure who I'm gonna do tomorrow. I just have to go through the list and just figure it out. But yeah, I'm gonna leave you guys here with Arash's Noble Phantasm, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.